Hello, everybody. We are back for another episode of ZTV, and I'm super excited today because I have an amazing guest. Some of you may know them from Z School for the Gifted, but today is going to be all about the wonderful Binita. And it's entitled The Rise of the Triple Threat. And I cannot wait to bring them on stage. But before I do want to tell you a little bit about them. They are an amazing femme, artist, activist, model, painter, extraordinaire, revolutionary star. And they have an amazing surprise that they're going to share at the end of this live, but they might talk about it in between that you're not going to want to miss. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on the amazing Binita. Hi!
Yay! Hi! I feel like a celebrity. I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, hi. Oh my
gosh. You should feel like a celebrity. The funniest thing is I totally forgot to mention that you're a recent graduate of More Than Worthy. Yay!
Yes!
Which is also what we're going to be talking about. And hello to everybody in the chat. I know folks are joining and going to be tuning in. Hello from Instagram. Hello from all the other channels. Feel free to drop any questions at any time. Jeremy says hello. Zawadi says hello.
Hi. Oh my gosh.
Yes, Jeremy said you look like a celebrity.
Thank you. Thank you.
So tonight we have a bunch of fun questions. But before we get started, is there anything you want to share with the audience or say hello? You're welcome to, I don't know, whatever you want to do. We keep it open.
Yes, because you did mention about More Than Worthy. I do want to talk about that because I'm just like, I am like back, like in a way I'm here as like feeling worthy than ever, and because of More Than Worthy. And so that is something that I'm so honored to be part of. And it's like at this moment, like I literally have no fear whatsoever. And I used to have a lot of fear around money, fear around being on the spotlight, fear around like asking for help, fear of like relationships, fear of like triggers, like everything. And so it's like I feel like my self-worth is so great, and I'm so grateful that I found Izzy on YouTube. Like our spirits must have been having a long conversations around like how do we bring these two people together?
So funny. I love you saying that, and it's the whole reason why I call it More Than Worthy, right? Sometimes we don't realize how unworthy we feel until we can fully pour into ourselves. And I just feel so grateful to be able to usher you into this new life because it was 6 months of so much fun. And I do want to hop into the questions. And for anybody who's watching this, I didn't tell Binita any of the questions whatsoever. For folks who sometimes get a little bit nervous, I will tell them ahead of time. But Binita was like, surprise me. And so I was like, okay, awesome. So my very first question for you also, Ideala is here.
Yay, as well. Ideala, hi. Hi, Jeremy. Hi, Zawadi.
So the very first question, it says, how does it feel being on ZTV after completing More Than Worthy?
Oh my God, it feels like being a celebrity. Also like seems like a normal our Tuesday night of like every other week meeting them, be like, tell me now. And then I'm going to rant for 20 minutes or 40 minutes rather, be like, and then this happened, and then this happened, and this happened, and this happened. It was just like talking along that. It just feels very like normal. And I think like it's I'm so proud of myself, and also so like proud of you, Z, for bringing me to this place of authenticity. And it's like now I'm just like, I have learned that I'm just supposed to have fun. Like I'm not supposed to be nervous. I'm not supposed to like prepare too much. I'm not supposed to have all of these things. And so it's like the very place of being able to be present and just have fun. And it's like I have nothing to hide. It's like before you don't even realize you have things to hide. Like it's like when you're not authentic, you're just like you can't make eye contact with people. Like it's so weird. And now when I see people like that, I'm just like, I'm sorry you're going through this. I understand. Like internally, like I'm having that dialogue because like when you step in with authenticity, there's nothing to hide. When you accept
Right.
yourself, like the shadow work that I had to go through is the like, tell me more about. I encourage you to look into this, and I'm just like, today Nazi, today Nazi, no. And sometimes I would not reply to your responses for like days because I'm like, I need a couple of days to process this. This is like a lot. I'm like, for a second, can you just gossip with me? But then he never does that.
No, I know.
So they're very high frequency. And I must say, like, I think initially initially like I felt like a little bit intimidated or I think that's normal also, like it was very hard for me to maintain a frequency, but now I think I am able to catch up to that faster. It's like before I needed a lot more space.
Well,
And so now I understand like what it means when I think I heard Bahar talking about this, about like you give off a vibration to people and then it's up to them to match it. And so now I do exactly that now in my real life. Like I don't lower myself. And so I let them like come up and like it's okay. They take like a couple of weeks sometimes and not talk to me. That's fine. But I want them to like be able to like match me. And so I keep up with that authenticity as you have with me. And so I think I've definitely gotten, yeah, my frequency has gotten so much better.
I love it. I would say just watching you over the 6 months, you're like a completely different person. I know we've talked about this before of like you coming in and like I don't do rituals, like I don't like all these things. And then what was the first thing you said when we were reflecting on the journey of More Than Worthy when it came to rituals?
I was like, no, like I just like to go with the flow. Like I don't really like it. And so I was very much in my feminine energy at that time. And so it took me like a while to be like, get up and do your meditation, drink your warm water.
Yeah.
And then even like night rituals, like night rituals was the whole thing. It was like you had to go through a lot of conversations with me about night rituals because I didn't have a great night ritual and I used to have bad dreams. And even like I would say now psychic attacks, but looking back, but it was my own energy that was attracting it because I wasn't taking care of myself before I went to bed. And so I went to bed with a lot of shame. And also I believed in ghosts. At that time, I was like, oh my God, I'm scared of ghosts, Z. And then Z is like, I encourage you to think about what part of you is scared of that. And I'm just like, so now I'm not scared anymore.
Yeah, and now you don't have any more ghosts in your space. Like there was a whole
No.
journey of healing that frequency and healing that fear. And then also what's great about More Than Worthy, which I will explain in a second to folks, is it's not just about you stepping into your authenticity and your power. It's about like a reclamation of your spiritual journey and your gifts and what you are experiencing in the world and what's actually true and all of this potential that you can't quite see initially. And for anybody who doesn't know what More Than Worthy is, should have mentioned this earlier, it's a 6-month generational healing journey, but it includes so much stuff. And we're going to talk about Binita's transformation because it's really built to look at every aspect of your life, from how you see yourself, how you interact with people, dating, like sex, food, like everything under the blue moon, ancestors, guides, like cosmic awareness. And as you were saying, it is a journey where like it's built with time in between our sessions so you can really integrate and process. And as a coach, it's just such a fun process for me to see people go through it. And you know, I hold so much love for you and everybody who does, because the journey is not easy. And you're really shattering chains and generational trauma when you do it. So there's no expectation that you're going to be breaking cycles like overnight and we're going to sit there gossiping, right? Like no. Like I'm like, the whole point of this is for you to transform so you can live the life that you are wanting to. Jeremy said, what is sex? So, so
the birds and the bees.
Yeah, the birds and the bees. I would like to ask you a funny question. So I consider you a triple threat, right? You act, you dance, you sing, you do all the things. You're an artist, activist, model. Who from those personalities shows up on your bad day?
Oh, that's a good question. On a bad day, um, I think those are all like such a joy place. I don't think they show up on bad days. It's just
Then what would you say to your ego? What would be a name for your ego if you could name them?
oh, spicy, maybe.
Spicy.
Or masala, masala.
You're like, oh, I need to go have a conversation with Masala.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Also, like, I want to say that I didn't realize within More Than Worthy, like how much of it was in terms of like the growth that I've done. Because initially, when I went into the program, I was just like, "Oh, well, I've done my generation healing already. Like, what are you talking about?" In my head. And then you go through all of this process and you realize, oh my gosh, like I didn't realize that I had so much work to do. Like I had so much of um, like I didn't realize how much time I spent in a day thinking negative things. I didn't realize how much spent time I was spending thinking of like my twin or thinking of like thinking of I'm also part of like Twin Flame Collective. And so it's like I didn't realize that I was like those are all energy leakages that was happening in my life. Or thinking about like angry or being angry, all of these things, right? Like and so now like it's like a 360 transformation. And although I would say like not 24 hours, I'm like the greatest. So sometimes like, oh, I got this reflection. Now I'm just gonna go and do like a cold shower, as like Z said, and then it gets better. But it's like I didn't. It's like the 6 months ago, Binita is like a whole different person, not just like from inside, from outside. Like I wore all black all the time. I didn't wear jewelry like this. Like I didn't wear colors. Like I
Yeah.
wasn't that. I was all into like it's so hard to wear like colors. Like no. And so I'm just like, oh, let's get dirty so fast. And then so I just would wear black all the time. And I like in between like More Than Worthy a couple of months in, like I had these like 3-4 bags of black clothes that I donated. So it's not just like internal world that changed, like externally. Like I feel as I've never looked so good. And then you don't think that you would have another glow up when you're going through a glow up, right? Because you just
Yeah.
so see yourself changing. But then it keeps on leveling up, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I didn't know. And I'm not obviously like I'm not even trying externally by any means, but when I'm working through like internal things, we see it's like it just shows up in your world, like in your face and in your skin. And I've never looked this young. It's just weird.
Yeah, you definitely start aging backwards, and we
Yeah,
still need to take your, like after photos because I know
yeah,
in the beginning of the journey, it was like 1 month in, and for anybody who wants to know, like we dig a lot into who you are as a person, but also what you are eating, when you are eating, really learning how to take care of yourself, and your external is a reflection of your internal. And so obviously the more you work on yourself, the more you're gonna start to glow. And I remember you being like, Z, you need to tell people about the glow up. And I'm like, we're 1 month in, like we got 5 more months to go, like let's see what happens. So I would love for you to share like what your food journey was like for people.
Oh, I think I used to eat like a lot of snacks, I would say. And then while I'm looking at the snack here, I'm kidding, I'm kidding. I don't have a snack here now. Maybe inside a bag. I didn't take it out yet. Okay, that doesn't count.
Benita.
I think like I think it must have been like a Western influence on me because when I was like, I'm from Nepal. I don't know. You already know. Like I was born and raised in Nepal. I moved here in my 20s and I've been here 10 plus 12 years. And so I back home, like, I didn't really hear about people like binge eating or things like that. And then so like like coming here, like I heard a lot about that and I adopted it. It seems. And so when I was going through like mental health issues before, I would just grab chips and food and all that, and so that was a habit that I still had. And although I was like a smaller woman and I did CrossFit and so forth, but it was like it was show my skin and I didn't feel great. And so for me, I think now like I eat a lot cleaner, and then even like I cook most days. I only yesterday like I cooked something and I ate today, but then like I cook like every day. And then I like eat organic foods, for the most part, like organic food, like that is something I didn't believe in before. I'm just like not organic, but like it's all the same thing. And then yeah, my food journey has been, I eat more intuitively now, more so. I don't like do like 2 bags of chips at one time. I barely have chips. Like I even throw away
Yeah.
all of my food. Um, but I think like in the past, before More Than Worthy, I would have moments where I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna like throw away all my chips and never buy again, and I would buy again. I would do that. But then with More Than Worthy, like the certainty is like better. Like it's like now I know that I'm not going to eat certain things again ever again. So it's like the confidence is just so different. And
Yeah.
I think had changed. I do want to say that food is something that I do still struggle with in terms of like being able to eat on time. It's like I try to eat 3 meals, but it's like I don't like to cook. I mean I like to cook, but then I don't like dishes and so forth. And so
Yeah.
I'm not as consistent with like eating like more timely, like or eating enough protein. But I definitely like eat healthier. Yes. Like
Yeah,
other
I
than
love
some snacks sometimes, but not a lot of snacks. Just a little
yeah, yeah. And
bit.
something that I do love teaching everybody in More Than Worthy, and I also want to point over to the comments, so there's some funny ones in there, is, I love teaching, and I love teaching you about intuitive herbalism, right? That's what I've kind of named it, of learning how to recognize the frequency of good food, but also learning how to match it with your own energy and what it's needing, because your body is always talking to you, your energy is always talking to you. And that's how our ancestors really ate. And so you went through a reclamation journey with that. And I love that you mentioned the binge eating and that kind of stuff, because it's so easy to pick up habits that are just not good for the body. And now you can comfortably sit within your energy and say, I'm going to eat something better because I care about what goes into my body. And I know what it feels like when I don't care for my body. And in a second, it might be worth, if you feel like it, telling people about the bagel story, which
Oh yeah.
but only if you feel comfortable. But I did want to say that Jeremy mentioned that these smiles and giggles are contagious, and that he also wears a lot of black everything. And our clothes are a reflection of exactly how we feel, right? And I distinctly remember you recently also saying how you're like, I'm in my feminine energy, I want flowy things, I don't want to wear like all this stuff. And I just loved it so much, because I was like, you're so different from who you were before. And then someone also said, yeah, this one's a good one. So salutations, hello, salutations, Benita, salutations. Oh, I love it. The states can
Hello,
definitely,
salutation.
yes, the states can definitely be an automatic influencer for not so groovy habits. Yeah, obesity, oligarchy, and it's now that right? That's some knowledge that you can pass on to your clients as well, since you're getting into the coaching space. But if you want to talk about the bagel story, you're welcome to, only because I feel like the way you reflected on it and the observing of that cycle was is something that I feel like folks can learn from, but it's completely up to you. And I could totally ask a different question. I don't mind if you ever tell me no. So
Yes, no, no, no. I'm totally okay. Like open book. So the bagel story is basically so I met with Z and then we talked about like, and then I was not feeling great. And then she's like, oh, well, what's going on? Tell me about like what you're eating. And then I had seen Z talk about maple syrup. Like I stopped eating like honey, and then started eating maple syrup because you talked about it a lot. And then I saw on her Instagram about, oh, I love maple syrup. And then in my mind, I'm like, okay, I can eat a lot of maple syrup. And so all I did for like, I think 2 or 3 days is I ate like lots of bagels and then adding a lot of maple syrup in it and just eating them. Like it's like dipping maple syrup in like bagel in like the whole thing, dripping, and then I'm just eating them. Like that's all I did for like few days, and then I wasn't feeling great. Like I was feeling terrible. And then so you have to go back. Okay, then what did you eat? And then how did you feel? And then had to go through the whole process and just be like, oh, okay, some moderation, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And also like the cool lesson too of like how it ended up connecting with your finances, right? Because we were also shifting into
Yeah.
your finances and things like that. And so what we eat is always going to directly affect every aspect of our life. And so the reason why More Than Worthy is 6 months long is so that I can catch, right, these things like over half of a year is a good amount of time to be able to see these cycles. But I do want to ask you another question. So what first drew you to More Than Worthy? Was there a breaking point or like a whisper from the universe?
It was a setup from my spirits. That's the obvious answer. Um, and then also, I just want to say, like, I started working with you, but I didn't know you as all you are, as similar to all I am. Like, I didn't know that. I just knew you as, somebody who was teaching about clairs, and I was like getting interested in that. But then you were also like a singer, an artist, and like a painter, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like she's all of me. And then like we're very like similar personality as well, and so it's very fascinating to me like how these synchronicities work, and I'm so grateful that my spirits, like our spirits, work through together on this. But I think first of all, I would say I went to the Z school for the gifted, and I had seen like your video about clairs, and then it just felt really good. I just remember the music, like background music. I'm like, oh, it's so good. And then I went to the, and you have been very generous to put Z School for the Gifted as at a very like reasonable price, like affordable price for everybody. And I'm just, I'm gonna go. And so I went there, and then I felt like I learned so much. And then I also like felt like now looking back, I felt like you were not giving me a lot of information as compared to other people. And I'm just like, why is she not doing that? I think she's trying to get me into the program, like into something. Like I kind of felt that way. But it could just have been like a coincidence, or maybe like my ego mind was coming up at that time, maybe. You're just like, yeah, that's what it is. And then after that, I did your like fly with me session, and then that's when you did the meditation and you did some readings, and it was like so beautiful. Yeah, it was so great. Like you gave me so much message. It was like really, really nice. And then after that, I enrolled in the other program, like 3 days one.
Yeah, kick the shit happiness challenge.
Kick this shit to happiness. That's where I learned that there is a limited amount of happiness available. And at that time, I'm like, what are you talking about? Why are you just scratching my head? And now, like, I not only experience that, I tell that to other people, and then I could feel them scratching their head. And then I'm just like, I get it. And then you were very generous to do that with me only. And then you were just like, "Mom, you and I are going to do it together. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited." I'm just like, is this woman always this excited?
Yes, I am.
And then I realized, oh, because I hadn't gotten to that place of excitement in my life, which is why that was like a shadow of mine.
Yes.
And then so like I am just that now. I'm just like so excited now. And then I did that one with you, and then yeah, it was all like feeling aligned. It was just like really helping me. And I was also in a space where I had gone through like the activations with the twin, and I was like questioning the whole entire world, and then I had gotten into like slowly into spirituality. And then I really wanted to learn more because it was really resonating with me. And so I was like ready to do it all. And I was like, let's go for it. And then you talked about More Than Worthy, and I was like, yes, I want to go for it. But there were some tests from the spirits before I went to More Than Worthy. I think I have talked to you about that.
Yeah.
I had found another coach in a podcast who was like doing all these like channeling of like messages, like and all this, and I thought that was so cool. And then we were there, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, which one do I do it? And then I really had to like do a lot of journaling on that. And then
Mhm.
looking back, I think it was my ego wanting to be with somebody who is like a little bit big deal in terms of like a little bit maybe more socially, like maybe more following socially, like things
Yeah.
like that, or like have podcasts or things like that. And then you were like very much within your energy, be like, okay, I'm in earth right now, I'm sitting on the ground. And then I remember your videos like doing the fire thing, and I'm just like, okay, this is weird. Right? And then that's what I do now, like I go and just sit down on the stone and the like things,
Yeah.
and so I'm just like, I'm like, that's me now. but but I had to do some journaling to see like, okay, which one is right for me, because I felt really confused. But I think I must have been like in some ways like intuitive at that time, and so I was like, I'm gonna just go for Z. And then at one point, like it was like overwhelming in terms of like there was so much support available that I wasn't able to carry on with that. And I was like, there is too much G school for the gifted. Oh my gosh, like I'm gonna only show up for one.
I
Because
know.
Z school for the gifted is also included in More Than Worthy. And then it was like 3 days a week, and it was like too much information for me at that time. And it was like it was like so supportive. Like, and at that time I wasn't able to hold that energy like I see now. And then I think now I can hold that energy, but then at that time I wasn't. But also understandably that I wasn't. But then I knew that you were always available. Like you were available like Z School for the Gifted. You're available like in our voice
Oh yeah,
chat,
Telegram.
like
Telegram.
Telegram. Yes, that word.
Yeah.
Telegram. And so you were so available and like supported. I felt so supportive, and I think which is also why I've been able to have like so many breakthroughs. And so completely like it's like Z took me to the heaven and then brought another Benita again. This is the one. This I like this timeline better for her. And so that's why I have been able to transform the way I have, because I felt really supported. Yeah.
Mm, I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, for anybody, like you get all of Z School for the Gifted, including like the business
Business
classes.
coaching.
Yeah, and I'm available to you on Telegram. So you can send me however long messages, and I'm going to be coaching you the entire time through the 6 months, because it was important to me to make sure that anybody who did their generational healing journey, that they feel supported. And like literally everybody who comes into More Than Worthy, there's like a couple weeks to a month where they're like kind of spotty with showing up, and I feel like I'm there like, hey kitty kitty, like it's
Come
okay,
on, I got some treats for
yeah,
you.
I'm like, it's okay, you can come to me, I'm
You
safe,
got
right?
this.
Yeah, and then they're like, hi. Right. So it, like, I just love that you mentioned that and you felt safe, because that's one of the biggest struggles I feel like for everybody on the face of the earth, is finding a place where they feel safe, where they can show up as themselves and know that they can just be honest, right? Like you were fully able to just talk about anything you were feeling that day, whether you were upset, anything you were feeling towards me, right? Because we kind of mentioned that of like, I can sense you. I know what's going on, like in your day, or if I've triggered you, or like whatever it is. But at the end of the day, it's you're learning how to also like reparent yourself, and so I'm there to kind of hold the nest for the baby bird that's going, doing whatever they want during that space. So I'm glad that you felt safe. And I'm just going to check the chat really quick. Folks are talking about their own eating habits as well. You all's energy is dopeness. I love it. So I'm going to ask you another question. What surprised you most about the program? Was there a lesson or moment that cracked you wide open?
Oh, I think it was maybe like 2 months ago. I didn't realize I was in so much of my ego. And then it was like, and then I remember like when you and I met, and it's like, it sounds like an ego death. You're going through some ego death now. And in my mind, I was like, is it? It took me a while to understand it. And so it was a very like interesting experience for me because it didn't feel like I fell off the roof, but then but it was like as you said it made sense to me. And then I think since then my dynamic with the world kind of changed. I think before that I was in a space of comparing myself to others' growth journey. And then I would put myself as like I am ahead than them, I'm better than them, like kind of put it that
Right.
way. And although that didn't like manifest in my life in terms of like being unkind or anything like that at all, but it manifested in a way where my soul tribe wasn't coming in because I was being judgmental toward my soul tribe. I wanted my soul tribe to be within my own frequency. We had done the work that I had done, but then turns out it's not the case. It's a matter of like learning to be able to like accept them for who all that they are and accept yourself for all that you are. And so I didn't realize I was in my ego. So that was like uh, one of the tower moments. But then it didn't feel like, oh my gosh, I'm almost dying. But it felt like, oh my gosh, that was a little. and then I was like, so was I this all along? In my mind, I'm like,
I love
yeah,
that.
that was an interesting moment.
Yeah. I mean, we don't realize until, you invite in a different perspective that's there to teach you, and you work with spirit to find the right person and tapping into your intuition. And I also like want to celebrate you because in that moment, like you had also been doing the work up until that point and you were ready to receive it during that time. Like in More Than Worthy in general, like the first question I always ask people is like, are you ready to take this journey? Because it's like it's a whole different kind of world, and your eyes are going to be open differently, your third eye is going to be open, and you have to take an unbiased look at yourself and the world, because at the end of the day, many folks who go through More Than Worthy like yourself are also activists and want to make an impact. And so we can't have the lens of judgment towards the rest of the world, right? It's a journey of learning how to do unconditional love, and that doesn't mean not having boundaries with people. It means like you said, meeting people where they are on their path and just accepting them for who they are and where they are. So that was like a really beautiful way to put it. I want to ask you now, in the past you've said, you are advocating for Nepal. What did generational healing unlock for you in that journey?
I think it gives me a lot of compassion for the people of my country, and I think this was something recently I thought about. Like Nepal is considered like a third world country, and then for example, Canada is considered first world country, right? And I always compared that to like, but then I didn't grow up poor. Like I always compared that to money, and it was like I didn't like I am much poor here than I was ever back home. And so it was like I had a luxurious life back home, and then like I have a poor life here, and it's kind of like I always compared money to like first or third world, but then like during the generational healing, what I realized is that oh, it's the mindsets that's where we are behind. It's not money. It's the mindsets where we are behind. It's the degree of trauma that we are behind. Like here, now talking about generational healing, mental health is so easy for me to talk about it, right? But then back home, like the shame of mental health is like a second nature. It's so backward. At this when, and maybe the things have changed. I'm sure it had changed, but then when I was there, right? And so it was like it's like the way that we are so behind in terms of like, and it just probably is my own like culture. I wouldn't say everybody, but my surrounding. It was like there's no emotional availability. There's like having tears is not considered good at all, and it's like there's no emotional availability. There's a lot of abuse from like parents to kids, and it's even like I'm going to talk about abuse. Even like physical abuse is considered normal. Like my dad and mom had hit me even after I moved here, and after I said I'm going to call police is when they stopped. Like they wouldn't stop. Like and back home like there's no police like that, and so it's considered normal, and so they would just like beat the shit out of you, right? And so I have like so many scars in my body because of that. And so it's like considered so normal. And still like when I talk to my parents, like they still like think that it's normal and it's okay, and they don't have like really like consciousness around it as much. And so that is where I think we are behind. Yeah. And it is like sometimes I think about like we have 911 call here, like we don't have backup like that. That's also like a part where we are behind in terms of like basic needs. Like we are just stuck in basic needs, like just much below than Western countries.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that vulnerable story as well, and being an advocate, right, for peace and compassion even within, your own family, because I feel like a lot of folks all over the world are more likely to not talk about what happens at home because they're considered your family. And so I just want to say and honor you for sharing that story, because it's not easy, but many people go through it. And I'm just proud of you for sharing it. And what would you share to people in Nepal about what you have learned of generational healing? Like, if you could share anything with them.
Um, I think we don't realize like how powerful we are if we don't realize that we have God consciousness within us. You know, when I met my parents maybe a couple of months ago, and I talked to them about, oh, I work with Shiva, like I work
Yeah.
with Lakshmi, and then they just looked at me like I'm crazy. And it's like they are Hindu, but then we don't realize how we are following religion, but then we're not really being like stepping into our God consciousness, and that is within all
Yeah.
of us. And it's like it's we don't realize how powerful we are is something that like is like something that I want to tell the whole world, including the people from my country, and then also people like who immigrate, like as myself, like to different countries, and they don't see themselves as like having the rights and power within themselves to change their lives as I have and I am. And so
Yeah.
that is what I want them to like see, that you can
Mhm.
literally be anything you want. You just have to know the rules of the universe. You just have to know to connect with spirits and then just work with them. It's like it's such an amazing like feeling of being like not controlled but also like knowing the rules of the universe, like law of vibration, attraction, like all these like beautiful things that we don't realize that is there, and then we just are stuck in like one thing forever for generations.
Yeah, I love you saying that. I just love that you talk about, deities and your connection, because I feel like it was midway through the program that you really stepped into your reclamation of like even your ancestral lineage, and like you're saying, like redefining it for yourself, because I know many people and even in the States will follow a religion but not fully understand the concept of connection and oneness, and stepping into that divinity and unconditional love. So what was it like for you reclaiming that ancestral part of you, and like getting to know your ancestors and all of that, and celebrating who you are, and your clothing and all of that, if you want to talk a little bit about it.
Oh, it's been a whole like journey. Because initially, like when I had moved to Canada, like I was like pretty much I had whitewashed myself. Like I wanted to be Western, and I think that is a process that we have to go through to be able to understand the other aspect of it. And white supremacy is something that is just not here; it's back home too. Like which is why back home, like we don't want to sit in the sun for too long, or like want to have like a brighter skin, like skin lightening creams, things like that as well. And so it's something that is present back home, and then that doesn't like go away when you come here, because it's literally in your like education system. Like how you like live and grow, you learn that from like
Yeah.
you're from school, like from your environment and everything, right? And so for me, like I did kind of like had gone through like whitewashed version of myself in so many ways. But I think over the past, I would say 4 or 5 years since going to grad school, and then in graduate school, like I was doing my thesis on white supremacy, and so that's when like I read all these books and like learned it about so many like people, like got to like know so much people, and also realizing that, oh my gosh, like I am racist too. So realizing that it was like a whole confrontation that I had to be like, oh my gosh, I'm racist too. And so I had to like really like I didn't realize, now I know the word like shadows, but then I didn't know that we could be racist. And at that time I had worked to a lot of like untangling the white supremacy within myself, because I had these like guides and books kind of like guiding me toward understanding that, and I had done a lot of reflection and had unlearned a lot of those things. And so I think like in this last 6 months, it was more so like physically in taking it. I think mentally I was doing those work, but physically now I'm more like I want to wear the clothes from my ancestors, like South Asian clothes. Like when I wear Western clothes, I'm like, who is this woman? And then now I'm like wearing South Asian clothes. I'm like, I'll wear like same thing every day, but I'm just like, I just love it. Like it's flowy and it's nice and it's cute. Like, it's colorful, and I wear those. And it's like, yeah, it's been like a really beautiful journey for me to finally embrace me for who I am, and not realizing that, like, why do I want blonde hair or light skin? Like, why do I want like blue eyes or like this and that? Like, God made me the way I am because I'm meant to be me who I am. And also like realizing that, my whole path is self-doubt. And so it's like I joke about about this, is that it's like I'm gonna have everything that somebody like wants everything, like, but then I'm gonna doubt my whole life. I'm just gonna be like, oh my gosh, I don't like you, I don't like you. And then one day you come to a place of like, oh my gosh, I love myself. Oh my god, I love the freckles. Like, I love my gray hair. Like, I love my, like all of these. So it's like including like physically, like also learning as a brown woman myself, and then learning like also like loving other brown BIPOC people also as well, because it's like when you don't love your brown skin, you're not going to be able to love others to you. So it's a matter of like coming, yeah, reclamation of accepting me for like who I am. And I think spirituality kind of really has helped me in that, because I now understand that like I was, I was reading this witchcraft book the other day about like ancestors, and then my higher self and ancestors have a contract, but that higher self like borrows the body from my ancestors. And then ancestors are like, okay, I can let you come into this body, but then you're gonna have to break these kinds of racial traumas and all of these things. And so this is why my path have been like, oh my gosh, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's like I forgot what I was saying.
Your ancestral path and connecting to your higher self, and
Yeah, no, I think like becoming spiritual, like and realizing that why I am in this body, and then my purpose, like I think that has really helped me to kind of break free from all these kind of like things that I tell, I used to tell myself like, I'm not great, I'm not tall enough, I'm not this enough, I'm not this enough, like, and I don't have it anymore. I'm just like, I love myself, like, you're amazing.
I love that. And just so amazing, like you were also able to journey with your ancestors and break those cycles for yourself, while also breaking down the system of white supremacy, right? Because I feel like that's a topic that a lot of people tend to avoid when it comes to spirituality, but many practices were taken away because of white supremacy, because of imperialism and colonialism. And so watching you talk about it, and I remember when in the beginning of the journey, when you were sharing your stories about grad school, I was like, you more than worthy. I was like, I was like, you are rooting for Nepal. You are an artist. You are amazing. And I'm like, and you're speaking my language. And I was like, we need you front and center. And you're like, I'm ready. And I'm like, great.
Yay.
Yeah. And just how cool it is to just see you be in that energy. And me being gifted, as being able to sense your energy. I remember walking around and hearing all of these Bollywood songs. And I was like, Nita must be like really into her ancestor like energy right now. And then that like later that day, you were like, oh, I was watching Bollywood movies and I was like doing all this stuff, and you like put jewels on your face and wearing all these clothes, and I was like, like we are getting somewhere. But it makes me so happy to hear you talk about it. Zawadi actually had a really interesting question for you, which I'll share on the screen. It says, Benita, would you go back to Nepal and do motivational speaking?
Absolutely not just that. Like it's on my list of things that I will do. It's not
Mm,
just motivational speaking. There are so many like groundwork that I want to get engaged in, like with kids and women there. Like I think they need empowerment and something even like I plan to write and publish books in the future. And then when I do that, I'm gonna have that translated. I girl can't write in Nepali yet. I can read and write, and then it's not the greatest. I studied in a boarding school, and so we only had one Nepali class, and everything else was in English. And so even in that, I used to barely pass, and so not great at writing. But then I will have that translated, and then I will have that in Nepali because I want people back home to have an access to that. And even my plan is to like from the book that I do from the English, I want to be able to like provide that free back home so that they have access of that in like public libraries and things like that. So that is a whole thing that I want to do. And also, I think this would be a good time to talk about like my Miss Universe Canada.
Hey, yes, tell them about your amazing venture now that has been in the works.
Yes.
I'm so excited. Yes, tell them how you're
Before
stepping
jo-
into the
before
spotlight.
before Jawadi says like, how are you gonna do that? I just want to say it. I'm kidding, Jawadi. In case you're like wondering about like how is she gonna do that, I'm like, this is how. So I am participating in Miss Universe Canada this year, which is occurring on August 9th in Windsor, Ontario. And I'm participating in that, and I am now. I plan to get in touch with my Nepalese people to kind of do some events, kind of hopefully. I have lost track of a lot of Nepalese people because I was doing a lot of my healing. And so I had to kind of stay in isolation with not just with my parents, but also a lot of Nepalese community as well. But I'm ready to, like, I have invited, I'm ready to go back to like my own people. Speak in Nepali as well, broken Nepali. And then I mentioned that because I think that is, I'm hoping that that can give me some traction in terms of being able to connect with back home a little bit more. And then hopefully if I win the title, like Nepal is gonna be like, why don't you come around? Like, come around, I'll book a flight for you. And I'm just gonna like, okay, I'm flying, I'm coming. So I am ready.
Yay!
I'm ready to go, like go there, go for trekking, like explore like nature, go to like Annapurna base camp. Like I want to do so much stuff back home. I went back home like 2018, but it wasn't the greatest time, and also I went with my ex,
We'll
and was
get
like,
into that topic afterwards.
yeah, that was like a little bit like kind of like also it wasn't. I was very disconnected with myself as well, and so now being in connection with not just with myself, like with my roots as well. Like I want to go back home and I want to make such a huge impact, like to the people there because like I know that I can show them a different path that they've seen. And so, which is why I'm stepping into the spotlight. And that's what,
Yes!
that's what it means for me to step into the spotlight. I remember
Yay! Yes, you better. You repeat the question at the end. Benita has
your question.
been working so hard, and the reason why we're also joking and laughing about this is because in the beginning of your journey, one of your worries about being Miss Universe and doing all these things was the questions, right? And wondering how you're gonna stay on topic and time and all these things. And like what happened recently while you were practicing your questions that kind of gave you like an aha moment about how far you've come?
Yeah, so I have been working with a coach for beauty pageants. I've been working with her for about like 4 months, 4-ish months, and she one day just popped into my social media. It was after I registered for Miss Universe Canada, and then I knew that it was my spirit sending me, and then I had signed up for that, and I was it's called winnapageantcoaching.com. And it's like the most see, that woman is such a high frequency woman. She has no judgment whatsoever. Like I've listened to her group coaching calls, and I'm often there, and I've also been coached, and she's like the most non-judgmental and like being sensitive to energy. Like she does believe in God, not as spiritual, but then like she's connected with God, and so it's like she's so amazing. And with her, I had been doing this interview breakthrough program as well. It was like a month program where you go through. She works with ChatGPT and then with like group coaching sort of thing where she kind of talks about like, okay, what is your legacy project? That's what she calls it, legacy project. So she basically like from her like win a pageant coaching, like just with that, she teaches people how to get to their purpose. And I'm just like, oh my God, that's such a beautiful work that she does. Like I can talk about her for hours. But so I had gone through that program, and also I'm a beauty pageant girl. You can't tell. I had participated in Miss Nepal 2010. That was like 2010. It's a national pageant that I participated in. And the one place that I did terrible, and which is why I didn't get to top 10 even, was because of interviews. I went to the interview room and I was just like not connected. And then I was talking in Nepali and English and both. And then one of the interviewer was like either speaking Nepali or in English. That's what he said in Nepali. And then I'm just like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize it at that time. And I think that was the time I realized, oh my gosh, like my Nepali is so bad. It's like I can't speak Nepali, but then I'm better in English because maybe of like, I don't know, we don't speak like the raw Nepali language back home too. That's why broken Nepali in many ways. And so now it's gonna be in English, so that's good. And then I was insecure about my interview skills because I knew that that was my weakness, and then that is something that I wanted to work on. And so I had been working with this coach, and she did like a mock question, and then she asked me the question, and then I answered, and she's like, Binita, that was perfect. And I'm just like, what? Like my first time answering a question. And then like she's a very like intelligent, connected woman. Like she has worked with thousands of people, and then for her to say that was like a big deal for me. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I have no like, and that's like a miracle to me. And it's like I think that incident also gives me hope that the fear sometimes that comes in, it's not going to be there tomorrow. Like I have like that faith that I had this so much like scary feeling for the longest, like what, 15 years at this point. And then for that to like kind of completely like shatter off, like that gives me hope about any kind of thing that comes up. Like I can do it, and it's like I'm gonna be surprised, and that's how I'm gonna do it. And so that was the time I was like, oh my gosh, like I didn't realize that. I was like I was doing the right thing, and also which is why for Z, when you offered me to get the questions before, and I was like, no, just like ask me randomly, because when I get to that stage on August 9th, 2025 for Miss Universe Canada, like I'm not gonna have questions beforehand, so I want questions right
now. To like, how does it feel now after going through More Than Worthy, feeling so unstoppable and fearless, right? Like you were worrying about the interviews before, and now you just are crushing it overnight. How does it feel to be in that energy?
Oh, it's beautiful. It's so beautiful because it's like it's like the connection that I was looking for this whole time. Like wasn't anything other than connection with myself. Like it's just me coming back to who I am, like being knowing who I am. And then when you have that, and it's like, and that's what got me to that legacy project. That's why I was able to answer the question the right way. That's why I'm able to like laugh and joke around and be here with you. That's how I'm gonna go to Miss Universe Canada, or like singing or dancing or however it is. Like that's how it's gonna be. So I find that it's like as long as you're in touch with yourself, like you will be okay wherever you go. And it's like the greatest feeling. And then also something that I realized within More Than Worthy is that our desires, like the things that we think about, oh, I wish I had done that, like something that I've said before a couple of years ago, like, I would love that, but I can't do that. Like that doesn't exist. It's
Yes.
the desires are there because your soul wants to do that, but it's your body, your mind stopping you from that. Everything is mind. Everything is mind, literally.
I am
And
so
yes,
proud.
thank you. And also, I think like, some days it's gonna be like, oh my gosh, I'm just gonna die right now. And it's like, oh my god, I'm gonna die. But you don't die. That's what I've come to realize. You don't die. I am the proof. I have faced every fear, including the fear of snakes, including fear of like centipedes, like including fear of everything, like dying, fear of dying, like fear of like literally like everything. And the money fear was something that I'm still working through, but like now I know that I will be okay. But then like now I know I won't die. And so like today I was working on my money stuff, like I won't die, I'm okay, I'm just gonna go to like go to nature later, like I'll be okay. And so I'm just like, I can't breathe right now, but I'll be okay.
Such a great way to put, because there's like definitely so many moments in More Than Worthy, right? Because like I think you had to explain it of your like there's many cycles of ego deaths in More Than Worthy, right? But it's like no matter what you are going to face in life, like having that mindset of I'm going to be all right. And it's like, okay, thank you, body, for telling me that you don't want to breathe right now because you're so scared. That means I'm going to go take care of myself, right? Like your response is, I'm going to take care of myself, but I also remember all the times that I got through everything. And I know that I am more than capable of getting through this, and I'm more than worthy of making it through this, right? Like, and that's where that self-worth, that unconditional love for yourself really comes into play, and us like embedding it into everything that you do. And finances are just such a tricky thing for a lot of people, just given oppression and everybody's walk of life. But the biggest thing, like once you go through More Than Worthy, and you've done such deep healing with your generational healing, it's like, you know what, like I have the resourcefulness to know that even if I hit a hard time, like I'm not going to sweat it. Right? You're like, I'm not going to sweat it. Or you have the energy of like, oh no, I'm not doing that again because I'm worth more than that. That was old me. That's not even a frequency anymore. Right? You stand so sure in who you are and what you are worthy of. And it makes everything just so powerful. And I do want to touch on how More Than Worthy kind of affected your love life, and any reflections that you have about it, because it is something that we do like to talk about in soulmates and twin flames. And any lessons or reflections you want to share, you can share whatever comes to your heart.
I mean, I think that was the whole, like, I think for me at one point, like it was like, okay, I want to do business because I want to like meet my soulmate. Like that was like sometimes my inspiration, right? It's like not because I want to be rich, but because like I want to find love. Like, and I think that's literally like I think journey for a lot of people. I think that was my conscious thought. We don't realize we have these obviously, but it's like I think with my like being activated with my twin, and then realizing that like all these consuming thoughts of the twin is there because it is meant for me to redirect that energy to myself. And then it doesn't have to be like twin for like, but it's like when you're consumed with a romantic relationship, it means that you are leaking your energy. Those are literally energy leaks. That's what I've come to realize. And then you learn how to like redirect that to yourself. And although like sometimes like 24 hours you kind of go like, okay, today I'm going to do 23 hours and 59 minutes and 59 seconds, like 1 second lesser today. And then that's how you go. So it's not a journey of like flip, like other things
Right.
happen sometimes, but it's a very like slow and like patient forced patient patient journey of being able to pass through each second every day, kind of taking care of yourself 1 second more, 10 seconds more. And then it's a journey of like, now if I'm engaged with like those thoughts for 1 hour, and I'm just like, that's a lot of time. It's too much. And so now you realize that, as also like as women, it's like, your whole life you're told, oh, you're just supposed to find a man, right? And even when I met my parents a couple months ago, like the only thing that they were concerned about was like, oh, like, are you gonna get married again? Like, like they didn't talk about like, what are you like chasing your dreams? Like, are you happy? Like, there isn't any of that. It's because that's how they have lived their life, and I have a lot of compassion for that. And so it's like, that's how they live their life, thinking that being in a partnership is going to make you whole. But then I think I'm also sometimes like grateful that I had as 7 years marriage, that I went through divorce. And so like I'm grateful that I went through the marriage, because if not, I would probably think maybe marriage would be great. But then now knowing that you can be in a marriage with somebody and like not be in love and be disconnected and go through these mental health issues, and then it's a terrible like thing to go through, but also needed for me to come to this place of like where I am. And I think for a lot of women, like the very focus of like finding a man and love is in itself a trap to put us down, to not let us see who we are. Like, we as divine feminines, we are so powerful. Like, our intuition is like, what is it called? Atom bomb, something like that. Nuclear power. It's like a nuclear power that patriarchy has been trying to push it this whole time. It's a trap. It's literally a trap that you have to find a man. And so when you learn that, no, like, I am the nuclear power here. Okay. Like, that man is just an assistant for me. And so that's when you realize that you redirect that energy to yourself. And so now, even like when I go to like cafe, like today, I'm just like, okay, that would be great to find a man there, but then like he's not gonna take care of our finances, is he? Like, I'm gonna have to do it myself, well, right? And so like I don't give a shit. It's like I don't like. I think, and for the longest time, I had this thing I didn't realize about, like somebody wanting to like come help me, like save me, right? Like that was a thought you comes in unconsciously, you don't realize. But then now I'm just like, he's not gonna do this for me, is he? Like, I'm gonna have to face this myself. So like, I don't care. You can find me, that's fine. Like, I'll go on a date, but I'm gonna have to do this anyway. And so there's no waiting. You don't wait for anybody. Well, you just face your fears. You're just like, okay, like I'm shaking, I'm dying, but I'm gonna go for it.
That's so funny. But it's so true, right? And I feel like no matter how many times I also tell people on YouTube, which I feel like YouTube has its own culture for twin flames and soulmates and all those things that people can get trapped in, is that a lot of folks have come into union, right? Like, once they have faced their fears, and once they have become financially stable, even for the feminine, right? And so it's like you have to be able to go through those journeys of like, how much do I love myself? Am I willing to take care of myself, even my finances? Am I willing to set boundaries? Am I willing to like heal my own body? Like, what is it that I want as a person, so I can exist as a whole person before I can even be next to this other energy? And I feel like sometimes folks can hear that and feel almost turned off by like the divine feminine sometimes, right? But it's just a trigger within them, and it's like the divine feminine also invites the divine masculine, right, to do their own healing, so then everybody can kind of come together regardless of gender. So what have you learned about love, and like, where's your heart at now?
I think like with love, I think I've come to this place of so much love within myself, and then it's like I have so much love, and then I have so much love for the world. I also have love for the person that I'm gonna be with. Like, I do see somebody in my dream. I think probably my soulmate, and then I think he's gonna find me, and then like I don't have to go like do all the ravaging. I don't have to do that. Like, we will meet. Like, I think you've talked about, Z. Like, I work with Raphael. Raphael has been working with me with communications and all of that. And so it's like until that I heal my own wounds, like in order for me to find somebody who doesn't have those wounds, I have to heal mine. I have to be the love of my life in order for me to find the love of my life. And so that's how I see love as I'm not like I'm not closed off. Like if somebody says hi and talks, I'm like completely open to like, okay, that's great. You look hot, and all that. But then also like knowing that like I'm gonna love myself anyway, and then also anything like in terms of dating, like the past 6 months for me is more so like the when the energies come in, I'm just like, okay, what part of me is he reflecting back to me? Like that's my first question, more than like, is he the one? Is he the one? And also, I've also come to accept that you can like have anything you want, including the partner that you desire, who's gonna check all your boxes. He's gonna be the amazing like one. You just have to believe that it's there, and so that's the belief that I have. And so now I don't settle, I don't compromise, and so yeah, I know that if there is something that is like non-negotiable for me, like I'm just like no, like I can't like do it. Like I know like you look hot and all, like but no, like that doesn't work for me. And so it's like.
You're cute, but no.
Yeah, like no, like you got money, I get it, but then no, like I'm gonna create my own, So I also had that, and so it's like although very interestingly, like now the kind of people that I meet or go on date with, they're very like nice people. Like it's like I don't meet like the level of my ex kind of people anymore. It's like I think they're all vetted, I think, by my spirits, and it's like, okay, like this is what you need to see. So I always meet like the most kindest, self-aware like human beings. But then there are like some complexities where like it's like they're not what I desire in terms of like some things that I desire in them. And so now I work on like how can I be that for myself, and so that's what I attract. Like I don't go into like outside as much as I go inside within me to become that.
Yes, you're killing it, Benita. Like I wish I had some sort
Yay!
of horn to be like, woo. Exactly. Mic drop. I want to be in Canada for your show now. I'm like, let's go. I'm gonna be
You
there.
should totally come. That would be so much fun.
It would be so much fun. And flights are so cheap right now. But I am just so excited to hear that from you, and a lesson to everybody, right? Like when we pour into ourselves, we get exactly what we are wanting because it exists in ourselves. We can't access an energy unless we create it ourselves. And you said it so beautifully of just taking the time to reflect on what these people are teaching you and how you're not going to budge, because the minute you start to budge and take something less, right, you also signal to the universe that you want something less. You don't want your desires, you don't want that wholeness, right? And you signal to yourself that you're not worthy of something amazing. So when you're sitting there like, yeah, you're cute and all, but like you don't fit like what I'm wanting, right? It's like a stamp in the universe of we're getting closer, right? Like here comes this partner. And I always like watching you go through the twin flame journey was interesting, like because you're such a powerful manifester, and I would get so many messages like outside of the world. That's how powerful that connection is, like when you're learning and doing that heart opening with Raphael. I would be like, dang, what's Benita doing? Like what's happening? But then I was like cheering you on energetically, like slay it, you can cut it down, slay it, right? And I just want to say, I'm just so honored and so impressed by everything you are saying, and it makes me emotional. I know we've spent many moments crying of like, you're awesome and you're so great, like
I don't like I love him.
and the universe and our ancestors brought us all together, and folks are saying just so many lovely things about you in the chat. And I can't wait to see who you end up manifesting. And I'm gonna pick maybe one or two more questions, and then I really want you to share on how people can reach out to you and things like that, because you have fun things happening in your business that I really want people to tap into. So let's see, shall I do a funny one? Um, what's your favorite woohoo or magical moment that happened in More Than Worthy?
Oh my gosh, so many. So many. I think like I don't know.
This is
So
a
many
good
to
problem to
count.
have right now.
I know. Yeah, I think like the one thing that comes to me about like the ego death part was a little bit like very
Mhm,
interesting for
mhm.
me. Yeah, very subtle and yet like so impactful. Um, but other moments, I think the food moments was also like a little bit of like the maple syrup and then and the whole thing of like, okay, so what did you eat? And so how do you
Yeah.
feel? And then okay, like do you see it now? Do you see it now? And I'm like, yes, I see it. that was that was also a very interesting one. Oh, the one thing that I remember about food also was so I naturally started to become vegan, very interestingly. And now I'm just like eat sometimes vegetarian, sometimes not. I'm just weird. But um, I remember this one time I was going to like Toronto and then I ate this food that was like just a burger, like a vegetarian burger, and then I immediately felt like worse. And then it was not even like a beef burger or anything like that. It was just a vegetarian burger. And then I had talked to you about it, and it was like I learned like that. I think you used to talk about like food is energy, but I don't think I understood it. But then, and I talked to you about that, I was still not understanding it. But then during our call, you was just like, it's because when you eat that food, you're also like taking all the fear and everything. And then, so that's when I started to feel like bad, like right away. And so I thought it would take like the food to digest in your body to feel bad. It doesn't. Apparently, it's the opposite. It's like you feel like that, all these negative things from that food, however it comes from, the people who touch it, like all of these things right away. And so now, like whenever I'm eating like these whole foods, organic food, like it's just the energy is very different. The groundedness is very different. I have to work hard if I eat like pork, and then I have to work hard to ground myself, like go to park for a longer period of time or things like that. For compared to the other, and also like the nature part, I wasn't somebody who connected with nature, and then it was kind of like oh yucky, it's like a box kind of like that. But then now I'm like I go and my connection with nature has completely shifted, and it's just magic to me. Like how did you do that to see in 6 months? And I'm just like I remember you sitting down like the middle of nowhere, like to doing some fire or something, and they're talking there. I'm just like, how did she do that? And like, I am that woman now, and I'm just like, what? Like, when did I become that? It's like I'm just so ingrained with like having my feet on the grass and then just like lying down and just being in the water. It's just a very like different Benita. You definitely like picked out another one from the like this one I
I was like, we're gonna get rid of this one and we're gonna do
like.
I love
Yeah.
that. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I mean, I would definitely say, which wasn't thought of in the beginning of More Than Worthy, but for femmes who go through it, you definitely step into your empress and your goddess energy, right? Like where it almost feels like you can slow time, right? You slow time and you can just be in the present moment and be connected to the universe, be connected to Pachamama in the energy that you're supposed to be in that wholeness and that oneness. And listening to you talk about how you just sit by the water and talk to the animals, and I remember seeing you in LA, like a neighborhood, and you're hugging this tree and your skirt is like blowing in the air. I was like, that's Benita. I'm like,
She's
that's
coming
so
back.
amazing. Like in LA, right? You're just like, like so happy. And it made me so happy because it also means that we can all make a better impact on Pachamama, right? And be more mindful of sustainability and how things feel and processing food and like that kind of stuff and protecting animal rights. And because it becomes of like everything becomes your family in a sense,
Yeah, yeah,
when you sit within that oneness and that bliss which you are now like living in that state. And the tools, like I always say, the tools that I teach you are going to take you a lifetime. Like this isn't a program that you get into and then the next week you're out there eating fast food, right? Like these are tools that you can use until you're old and gray and that you can teach to your family. And I always love telling people, like, please do share whatever knowledge you learned, because it's not just meant for you, right? Like this is a generational healing journey. So you've been healing yourself and your ancestors, and you were also strong enough and have the resilience within you to take space from your family, because that's something that folks forget about, right? You weren't going to be able to do your healing unless you took that isolation and that hermit mode. And as in tarot, it's like you took that trek up the mountain to meet yourself in solitude so that you can come back down and be a new version of yourself, right? And which happens
yeah.
in many cultures. And so it's just so amazing to see this about you. Is there anything else that you would want to share for folks about More Than Worthy who might be nervous about the investment, right? Anything that you feel like would be helpful?
I think like the way that I see kind of investment in More Than Worthy. I mean, I definitely have a different mindset now in terms of money as back then. But it's like if you want to like do it, like your spirits will make it available for you. Like money, it's like I invested. Like I didn't even think about it so much at that time. I was just like, I just want to grow. Like I was so hungry. I would say I was so hungry for growth that I just like took it all. And I think, like just go for it. Like just that's your soul's hunger that's asking for you. Like if More Than Worthy resonates with you, go for it. Like you will be provided for. Like for something like this, like your spirit will be dropping like gold coins on you. So don't worry. Like just go for it, and then the transformation that you will have, like it's going to be a whole new level, because all you're investing in is to connect with your soul, and that's what you came to earth anyway. And so it's like, I know like Z takes money, she doesn't take organs or anything. I'm kidding. I'm also like I mean, I'm a nurse, like kind of like that, so I have a lot of dark humor.
She has
And
different
so
humor.
yeah, no, she didn't take my kidneys. No, I have both with me. So it's like you will, like, if your soul calls for it, like in any way, like just go for it. Like that's what I would say. Like I think I've gotten so much more than I have even money wise invested for. Like it's like, your whole, like anytime Z, you need a piece of my kidney, let me know. Like that's how much it means to me. So it's ready, okay? It's here for you. Like that's how much growth that I feel I've done. That is going to be only, yeah, like it's so much more than money.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And for anybody who has questions about More Than Worthy, feel free to drop them in the chat. There's also a link in the description where you can apply for it. I work with a smaller group of people, and right now I've got like 2 equity spots, meaning like scholarship available, and then 2 full priced ones. So if you're ready to take that journey, I highly invite you to do it, because as you see, Benita is just such a rock star and the sky is the limit. And I know you're going to crush it
Yeah.
in Miss Universe Canada. Like, I am just so happy for you, because I know it was something that was on your heart, and wanting to help, the people of Nepal as well. And just being, um, a new image for what life could be, right? And I'm so proud of you. And I want you to also share how people can reach you and anything else you want to share before we get going.
Yes. Also want to say I'm recording my first single next week. Guess what the title is? I Am Whole. That's the title. And that I wrote.
Yay!
I wrote that song like a couple of months ago, but then it's like a perfect time of like I feel whole. Like, yeah, I feel whole. Sorry, I feel whole. That's the title. It's all about self-love, and I think that's the first song that I wanted to have. Like, I look forward to share that kind of with the world. And yes, I'm a coach now. Like I feel as I have had so many beautiful coaches over the years, including Z, that it had changed my life. It had changed me. It has brought back me to myself. And so I'm so grateful. And it has like the past 3 years, like the coaching and therapy, like this has got me to a place where like now I feel as like I want to give back to the world, like because I feel as like we don't have enough people in the world who are going to give that space of healing as Z provided me, like a little mother pregnancy, like all those, like I want to be able to give back to the world because I know that I didn't just learn this to just keep it with me, and I want to share that with the world, which is why like I have my coaching program. So you can just I have my Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. They're all like Binita underscore Tapa, like 6 1s, 111, 111. And they're all like angel numbers. And so that's where you can book like a meeting with me, and then we can work one on one. I'm hoping to start a group coaching soon as well. And so that's where you can find me. I'm excited for Miss Universe Canada. And then watch me August 9th. It'll probably be live on some TV, but also probably on YouTube as well. So watch me August 9th. I think it's 7 p.m. um, Watch me win, hopefully, and also like pray for me to win. I just want to be able to give back in this world, and that platform and everything that I do now is just going to be for me to give back. And also, Z, I want to say like I have been kind of not to do coaching in the past with ADHD coaching and so forth, but I never felt like courageous kind of to do that. And I'm so thankful that like now I think I just needed to connect with myself. And I think you helped me connect with myself. And also the way that you really provided me that space for 6 months to be able to give me all the words and then all the emotions and all the things that you gave me. I think now I finally feel prepared to be a coach. And so I think like I think I'm, among many things, like coaching is going to be I'm also a Cancer. So it's something that I'm meant to do as a feminine is to empower others to be like how to turn your lives, how to be empowered within yourself. We have no idea. It's so interesting to me that we don't realize how powerful we are. Like we have God consciousness within us, people. We are God. Like we don't realize that we are. And so it's like I want to be able to show that within like themselves that they can do anything. They can be anything.
Yes,
Yes.
I love that. And all of Benita's information is also in the description of this video. So be sure to follow them on all the platforms. Book some coaching calls. Zawadi said, okay, Benita.
Yeah.
I know we didn't even talk about it, but there was a time, when you also had like medications and things like that.
Yeah.
And you had an entire journey now of coming off of that and living the life that you have now, just so free. So I won't go into it too much, but if you want to talk to Benita about it, they are around, and they're also in Z School for the Gifted, which I invite all of you to be there as a community. That's where Benita's journey started, and to
That's where I
join.
hang out.
Yeah, that's where they hang out. And the link for that is also going to be in the description. Again, I welcome you all to apply for More Than Worthy so we can also start changing the world, being our authentic self, and I just want to say thank you so much, Benita, for taking the time, future Miss Universe Canada, for being on ZTV and gracing us with your amazing energy and power. And just, you're so divine. And I love it so much. I can't wait to see
Oh,
how much you change the world and change the world also for Nepal. So I am sending you so much love and so many hugs. And I feel like we can close it out here. So thank you, thank you, thank you. You are such a rock star. And thank you to everyone in the chat who has been here. Y'all have been talking a lot. I know I haven't been reading everything, but I am so
thank
excited.
you.
They've been sharing so much love for you as well, and for the community. So great job, Benita. I'm forever cheering you on. Thank you so much, everybody. We will see you later. Bye bye.
Bye.